Do you breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on this Thursday, April 25th edition of the program. We're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on X as well. If you've got a comment, a question, a concern over the next hour, drop it in the comments section and we'll get to it throughout the show. Very excited about today's program. We're going to visit here shortly with our second ECU football student athlete of the week, Deontay Johnson, ECU senior defensive tackle. We'll talk with him, get a recap of spring ball. We talked, of course, with his teammate Elijah Morris earlier in the week. That is available now on the 94.3 The Game YouTube page, as well as in podcast form on 94.3 and Hoist the Colors under Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Remember to subscribe there to get all our latest content. And if you miss any part of the show, you can rewatch it there. So we'll visit with Deontay. He's on his way to the studio here shortly. We also are going to welcome in Bethany Bradsher, who just released a new East Carolina baseball book. Great local author, has done a lot of good projects in the past surrounding East North Carolina, ECU sports, and more. Never Take This for Granted is the title of the book. We'll get into much more with Bethany on how this project came together and everything about what the book entails and how you can pick it up. It goes with Around the Diamond with college baseball's most devoted fan base, speaking about Pirate baseball fans. So looking forward to having Bethany in to preview that book. Philip Pilkington is behind the glass. He is producing. It is NFL Draft Day. The first round of the NFL Draft is tonight. Philip, I know you're ready, and the Panthers may not have a pick, but I think we're still going to both be locked into. I feel like any football fan, man, this is a very special day.
It is. This should be a holiday in itself. It's always special. 32 young men's lives are going to change today, and not all 32 franchises will get to draft a player, unfortunately. Let's call for David Tepper's head. But here we are, and it's exciting. I love it. I wish I could just be sitting at home watching pre-draft stuff all day long. But, got to catch that paycheck, and Henry told me this was not a actual holiday, and I could not take the day off and get paid. So that's sad. But other than that, I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go, ready to see how these quarterbacks go and see what your Broncos do.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, at least Denver has a first-round pick this year, so that does excite me a little bit. They're picking 12th overall, but they're right in kind of no man's land. There's all sorts of different mocks out there with what they're going to do, but I don't know, Philip. I feel like there's nothing much more painful than making a big trade and not necessarily seeing the return immediately and then not having that first-round pick the next year. Like, obviously, for Denver, giving away the multiple firsts for Russell Wilson, that clearly turned out to be a gigantic bust. They had to also trade a draft pick for Sean Payton. We'll see how that plays out in time. But for the Panthers, I guess the jury is still out on Bryce Young. And so what are your feelings as a Panthers fan not having a first-round pick this year and seeing the Bears being able to pick number one overall in your spot?
Yeah, it's really frustrating, of course, like you said, it being the number one pick. Now, if the Panthers, somehow would have still landed a quarterback last year, not giving up the first overall pick this year, they would be trading back. But obviously it would have been probably a different situation. They probably still would have needed a quarterback. But I don't know. It's weird. Usually, and when history tells you when you trade multiple first-round picks, it doesn't work out. When you look at the Vikings trading for Herschel Walker, didn't really work out. It gave the Cowboys 3 Super Bowl rings. When you look at the Redskins trading for RG3, it didn't work out. The Rams got, some not as much as what the Cowboys got, but they still got some solid players, were able to be vital pieces and go into the Super Bowl about a decade later. And I don't know, I'm sure there's some other things off the top of my head. I can't remember what all they are, where teams have traded a lot away and it's not worked out. So trades are okay, but like you said, you got to see return on investment, and you're making a big risk when you get rid of first-round picks.
Steve Hill is in our YouTube comments section, and I'm going to ask the same question to Deontay Johnson when he gets here because he is a Washington Commanders fan. Steve, a Commanders fan as well, says Drake Drake May, Jaden Daniels. There's a former ECU player named Drake Daniel, who was a linebacker back in the day. Or J.J. McCarthy to my Commanders. He's on team Jaden Daniels. I feel like it's going to be Jaden Daniels based on everything we're hearing. And we all did our mock yesterday, Philip. I think it'd be pretty surprising if Jaden Daniels doesn't go number 2 overall.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Steve. I think Jaden really does have a huge upside, probably a little more than Drake. He's who I would go with. I'm not extremely high on any of these guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised if none of them pan out. But, hey, that's life, right? I mean, everybody thought Ryan Leaf was going to pan out, and some people thought that he should have even been drafted over Peyton Manning. So, there's no way to tell, but, I mean, I think they go Jaden. If I was them, I'd go Jaden, but who knows, man? These things are weird, and we see weird stuff happen every year.
No doubt, and we'll see if the Commanders choose to go the Jaden Daniels route, we'll see if they go Drake May or in another direction. So really looking forward to the draft. 8 o'clock, the start time, Philip, I assume, based on past years?
Yeah, 8. So probably 8:20 or so before the first team's on the clock.
8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN ABC. Are you one of those guys, Philip, who turns off your Twitter notifications because there are so many people that try to leak the picks? Definitely as the draft goes on, and once you get to round 2 and 3 or 4 for sure, they're like leaking like 3 picks ahead. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
It kind of depends on what I'm doing. If I'm sitting there watching the draft, then I want to be surprised. Now, when you're sitting there at an ECU baseball game on a Saturday afternoon covering ECU baseball, you kind of want to just go ahead and know, because if a ECU player is going to get picked or if your favorite team's on the clock, you're not really watching the draft anyways. So it'll be a little weird for me this year on Saturday. I'll be on a flight, so I probably will just have to check when I land in Colorado. But like tonight, yeah, I don't want to know in advance. It's a made-for-TV event. It has been for the better part of 3 decades now, and I want to relish in all that is the made-for-TV event.
No doubt. Really looking forward to the NFL draft again, first round tonight. And from the ECU perspective, look for ECU safety Julius Wood, kind of projected as a day 3 pick in the draft. He's kind of the one guy I would expect to potentially go from ECU, so probably more rounds 4 through 7. If he does not go on Saturday, will likely be one of the top priority free agents. He is one of your best run defenders in the draft from a safety perspective, coverage and speed. He didn't test extremely well from a speed perspective, which may hurt his stock a little bit. But look, Philip, you and I have both watched Julius Wood for a couple years now. I don't think there's any doubt he can play at that level. Special teams will be crucial for him. And I think if he can find the right defensive fit, he can really be a player in the league, because I think his game speed plays faster than maybe what he runs. So hopefully Julius hears his name called this week.
Yeah, I think so. The eye in the sky never lies, the film. And like you said, his game speed's great. He's got a high football IQ. You got to be a high IQ guy to play in Blake Harrell's system. He's got that, like you said, he is content playing special teams. He's very humble. He's not the kind of guy that's like, man, if I'm not starting, I don't want to be here. No, he will fight. He is physical. He will play special teams, if that's what it takes to earn a spot on a 46-man active roster on any given week. And I definitely think a team's going to take a chance on him, and I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised when they do get him to rookie mini camp here in a couple weeks.
I saw Julius out at a spring practice, and I said, man, it's a shame you didn't get an invite to the Senior Bowl, East-West, Shrine Bowl, or any of that stuff. And he just said, man, I didn't need it. He said Combine would have been cool, but he said my tape doesn't lie, and teams are going to love my tape. And I'm like, heck yeah, dude, your tape is legit, and I think he's going to get a shot somewhere for sure because of that tape. So we're looking forward to where Julius lands. All right, Steve Hill says, how does the acquisition of Zach Wilson impact the Denver Broncos quarterback draft strategy, if any? First off, it was brutal to go through a uniform reveal and then acquire Zach Wilson as your potential quarterback in the span of, 4 hours, that I wasn't too fond of, the uniform reveal. I don't think it really changes anything. I do think it takes the pressure off. They don't have to go get a quarterback if they don't love one. I do trust Sean Payton's evaluation over a lot of coaches in the league, given his track record. He knows what will and will not work in his offense. And I think they're not going to reach for a quarterback unless they really fall in love with one of these guys. I think they stand pat at 12 unless they're super sold, and I'm fine with that. And I think that would have been the strategy even if they didn't sign Zach Wilson. So, I mean, there's just no other options out there. Like, I guess Ryan Tannehill is still a free agent as far as I know, Philip. But, like, at some point you just have to sign a quarterback just to have another quarterback. And right now I would even say Jarrett Stidham's probably your starter ahead of Zach Wilson, and that'll be a competition if they don't draft someone.
Yeah, I would honestly, from what I've seen on the field in games, I would take Jarrett Stidham over Zach Wilson. But hey, Zach's young, and could he turn it around? Of course. I would hate for any fan to ever judge Steve Young on his performance with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, he wasn't as bad as what the record says, going something like 3-16 as their starter, but it was still bad. Jim Plunkett was not very good in New England before he went to the Raiders and won a Super Bowl. So, look, guys have revitalized their career. It's potential. Do I see it happening? Probably not, but it could happen. And does it change, going back to Steve's question, does it change where the Broncos sit? I mean, I guess it changes it from the fact that you don't have to draft a guy, but I still think it comes down to with these top 6 quarterbacks. Well, obviously you have no shot at the top 3, but I guess the back 3 quarterbacks of that top 6, if you're sold on a guy and you don't have to sell the farm, then I still think they're going to go after him if they like him. But the thing is, now maybe you don't have to reach as much because you do have 2 guys on your roster and 2 guys that have been starters in the league.
No doubt, and we'll see, man. The Broncos have not given away much of an intel to media or anybody about what they really think of these quarterbacks. They've been at all the pro days and everything, so we'll see if they make a move. I still think the Vikings are more than likely the ones to trade up, if anybody, in that group. We're just outside the top 10. All right, let's switch gears, talk some college baseball before Deontay Johnson gets here. He's about 5 minutes out or so. We'll welcome him onto the show. Philip, did you see the score last night? I tweeted it out. Columbia beat Seton Hall 31-0.
I saw that it was 31-0 in the 7th. I did not see what the final score was, but yeah.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I saw where Thailand beat Kuwait the other day 57-0 in hockey.
What?
So that's almost as impressive.
Is that serious?
Yeah, it was like their U18 team trying to go to the U18 junior championships or something.
You would just think like maybe you score a run if you're Seton Hall, or if you're the other team that didn't go or they gave up 57 goals, like at least score once.
Yeah.
I don't know, like have some pride, man. Like you can't lose 31-0 in baseball.
No,
that's unacceptable.
I mean, Seton Hall. I mean, I get they're probably not like a perennial program, but like you're still in the Big East. You've got Big East money coming in. Columbia's the best team in the Ivy League, but come on, like you're not some school that just became D1 6 months ago.
I guess they miss Aaron Groller because he's a Seton Hall transfer. He closed out the NC State game for East Carolina. Maybe if they had Aaron Groller, they would have given up like 10 less runs. I don't know. But tough look there for the Seton Hall Pirates. That is not the Pirate baseball we've grown accustomed to. Johnny Robertson says they only played 7 innings in the Columbia game. So
that makes sense.
So I guess it was a run rule and definitely necessary there. All right, quick look here at the latest projections. Again, I'm not huge on getting into the projections given the fact like if they're midseason projections, but we're finally getting to the point where they've become a little bit more real. You only have, I think, 3 weeks left in the regular season. East Carolina has put itself in the position, Philip, of being in a very good spot. They have the number 8 RPI nationally overall. If you look at the non-conference RPI in itself, they are number 1 nationally, 21-4 against the number 10 ranked strength of schedule, counting just non-conference games. So pretty impressive. As a result of that, D1 Baseball and Baseball America released their late season projections on Wednesday. ECU is a national seed, top 8 seed in both, which means they would be in position to host a super regional in Greenville if the Pirates could win their regional. And there's just no way this scenario comes to pass, but I'm just going to read it out anyways. ECU, according to D1 Baseball, in their projection would be the number 6 national seed, hosting NC State, James Madison, Sacred Heart in the Greenville Regional. They will be paired with Indiana State as the number 11, with Kansas State, Illinois, and St. Louis. That would be the easiest path to Omaha, maybe for any team, but definitely for ECU.
Look, they can put these projections out. We know there's no way under God's green earth will that ever happen. Can this team be a national seed? I think so. But the SEC and the ACC are good, and they're going to have an SEC and ACC bias due to strength of schedule. And on top of that, look, we're going to have some wackiness, even if we get a national seed for some team that comes here. We will not be paired with Indiana State. They are not going to pair two mid-major teams together like that. They just won't do it. The mid-majors have to earn their way in by beating a perennial program. It's the way they've always done it. It stinks. It is what it is. We will not be paired with Indiana State. I don't even know where Terre Haute, Indiana is.
Somewhere in Indiana. That's all I can tell you. All right, the other projection, Baseball America, they have ECU as the number 8 national seed and also hosting NC State as the 2 seed, James Madison the 3, Army the 4. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Wake Forest would be the regional paired with ECU. Nebraska, UCF, Columbia, speaking of Columbia, projected to go there. So I think maybe a more realistic option there, but still a lot of baseball to go. Both projections have NC State as a 2 seed, so we may not have seen the last of Alec Makarevich, Philip.
Hey, if it's that little extra motivation the Pirate fans need, not that they ever really need extra motivation when it comes to postseason play, but State came here for a regional back in 2019, so it wouldn't be the first time, and anytime you can get that local rivalry, it makes it that much more fun. So, sure, bring on the little Wolfies.
All right, let's get a break in on the other side. We're expected to be joined by Deontay Johnson, ECU senior defensive lineman. We'll talk about the spring and much more with Deontay here on Hoist the Colors. We'll be right back. This is HTC on a Thursday.
New Toyotas, 0 down and only $369 a month at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Buy with 0% or get Corollas, $369 a month with 0 down. This is not a lease, you own it. Plus, get our Greenville Advantage at Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Dum-dum-dum. Get low, get low, get low. 369, ooh, she fine. Hoping she can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Ready to save thousands with a great rate? Get 0% financing at Greenville Toyota during the Great Rate Sales Event. Shop our massive inventory of new Toyotas, available as low as 0%. Hurry to Greenville Toyota today, where our volume saves you money.
The Pirates play here.
Arr!
This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.7 Number 3, The Game.
All right, welcome back in Hoist the Colors on this Thursday, April 25th edition of the program. We're going to be joined by ECU defensive tackle Deontay Johnson here in a few minutes, but we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to bring in Bethany Bradsher, who has this awesome new book out. I'll hold it up for the camera. Never Take This for Granted, talking about ECU fans and baseball and just the overall experience. And Bethany, so this is now available. And I guess we'll start. Well, first off, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I know you've been on Patrick Johnson's show, but great to have you in studio for Hoist the Colors. Let's just start with Never Take This for Granted. Give us the brief synopsis before we dive into maybe some of the details.
Sure. So this book is really an overall look at what makes ECU baseball special, both on the field moments and a lot of off the field, interviews with fans. It's so funny. I've been watching Welcome to Wrexham. I'm a little late to the party. And the way they get to know fans and show you the passion, I was like, hey, that's kind of what my book does. And I really love the opportunity I've had, everybody from children up to, some of the OG Jungle founders, to kind of hear the history, and for people who come there and they watch a game in Clark LeClaire and they think this is something special, it's different from anything I've experienced. I hope the book will help shed light on why that's the case.
Well, as somebody who's been around it my whole life, I mean, I love that you're now putting it in print, because I feel like the story needs to be told more. For you, obviously we known each other covering ECU for a while. So how did you kind of get this idea in particular to kind of highlight the fan experience and the passion that goes around ECU baseball?
It's funny. I wrote a book about Keith LeClaire. My first book, Coaching Third, came out in 2010. And obviously, Keith LeClaire's story needed to be told. And it's interesting, even since this book's come out, I've had a couple people say, I just read that book. And the way you read Keith LeClaire's story now is different than the way you read it when it came out in 2010, because his legacy is so solid here with Cliff Godwin and, the coaching tree with Eric Bakich and others that are out there around the country. And just the way, all the new players still read that book. So it's very important to Cliff that story continues to be kind of the foundation of this program. And so I was grateful for that. I went out and wrote books about all kinds of other things in all kinds of other places, but I had not written another East Carolina book. George Whitfield, he's got East Carolina ties, but he had a lot of others as well. So I was just ready to do that. And a friend of mine said, I think it's time for another ECU baseball book. So last year, I followed the team. I got press credentials. I kind of acted like a regular media member. Haven't been that in a while. And thought, I'm going to tell the story of the season, possibly. We both know that the season didn't end the way I would want a deep dive of one season to end. So I had to decide, do I want to wait? But I didn't, because as I'd been out talking to fans, I realized that that's where my story was. And so while, along with other Pirate baseball fans, I'm sorry that last year wasn't an Omaha year. For the book's sake, I'm glad I got to tell the story I did. And because the stories I was getting, and some of them weren't about 2023, they went way back, and just was able to assemble those kind of going around the baseball field and tell stories from all the way around, some on the field. I cover the top moments since 2001 in terms of postseason, big moments, big regionals, and interviewed a player from each of those who kind of was able to tell their story, some of the most impactful players. And then, like I said, lots of off-the-field stories as well. And
there's just so many staples of Clark LeClaire Stadium and ECU baseball, so I'm sure you highlight many of them in this book. So maybe give us an example or two of one of those fans you spoke with, or one of those stories you get to tell.
Well, quite a few. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with Brian Dilday and Jared Plummer, who were left field, stalwarts out there with megaphones. And got some of my favorite stories were Brian Dilday and his wife Corinne talking about traveling with the megaphone, in most cases not being able to get in with the megaphone. But there's some hilarious stuff out there about their adventures. And then, it's funny, you have Deontay Johnson coming on, but when I was going around the field and I got to right field and was trying to find right field stories, and I was like, I really think that these football players who camp out there have a great story to tell. And Deontay's kind of the leader of that crew. And so the media relations people at ECU were very nice to let me interview him in the middle of a season, not about football. Yeah. And he had some hilarious stories to tell. One in particular is Cam Clonch, who he's his buddies with. And they were just chirping at the right fielder, and they kept saying, my boy's going to hit one over your head. He's going to hit a home run over your head. And he started recording when Cam got up. Yeah. And sure enough, I think it was the post that really blew up.
Went viral.
For Deontay. And I love, he kind of gets his defensive line out there, and they're just last year he ran the Twitter account for ECU Athletics in one of the games. So that was fun because it just shows he's this young man who wants to go see every other sport. He wants to support every other athlete, which I love that spirit. And I thought it was really fun to just show the way that there's crossover out there.
So ECUBaseballBook.com, I know you can go to see more about this. Yeah. But if people locally want to pick it up or order online, where do they go for that?
Yeah, so that website is the place to order online. We do have an ebook on Amazon. A regular book, for some reason, they're saying it's not available, but it will be soon. They're waiting on the shipment.
Right.
But go to our website anyway, ECUBaseballBook.com. And then the books are available at Kaufman's, UBE, Dowdy Stores, and Stadium Sports here in Greenville right now.
How much, how have the early sales gone and the feedback for you? Obviously a big project. How has that gone for you?
It's been really fun. I was out there Saturday during the doubleheader selling books down at the Dowdy Stores kiosk on the lower concourse. And one of my favorite things is Chris Kaler's parents, they had bought a book because someone told them about it. And they didn't know their son was in the book.
Oh, really?
Because I interviewed Chris, and what I loved about his perspective was he had pitched against the Pirates for GW in the opening series last season, and now he pitches for the Pirates. And I thought that's a great perspective, and he did. He had so much good to say, but he might not have really even known what it was for, or just not told his parents. Look,
right.
I have college kids. I get it. And so his parents came running back to the table, and they said, "We just found out he's in the book," and they bought 5 more copies. So
that's crazy.
It's been neat to interact with families of players who just kind of get it and know how special it is, and people who just wandered by and saw it and were excited about taking one home.
Never take this for granted, Bethany's latest work, and you've written a lot of other books as well. You mentioned Coaching Third, so I just want to ask, as a writer myself, like I've always wanted to write a book, but it just feels like such a daunting task. I don't know. So how much work goes into the planning, the prep, getting it on the shelves, and everything involved with it?
This one was pretty quick. I mean, I did a lot of the interviewing and the notes throughout last season, but I started writing at the end of July and finished on New Year's Eve. Oh, really, most of that was even edited at that point. But I had a deadline that I really wanted to meet, which was I wanted it to come out in the middle of this season. The more books I write, the better I get. But you have to set deadlines and go, I'm going to write 1,000 words today, whether I feel like it or not, or you'll never get it done.
Coaching Third, was that your first big book?
It was my first book, period.
First book, period.
It was.
Obviously, very, very well known to this day. So I don't know, did the feedback from that and the success of that kind of get you into more writing books? I know you have a past life as a reporter too.
I do. I have a past life as not that much. No. Not that much. In fact, I started last season up in the press box, and I was like, I'll go back to the jungle. But I mean, it laid the groundwork to do what I do now.
Right.
And I'm so grateful I had that experience. I covered the Panthers. I used to cover Wofford College. I was living down there near Spartanburg. And so I've done some great things that I think have helped equip me to write books. But I feel like writing books is where I was always headed. My kids had to get a little older, and I needed to have enough time to do it. But yeah, once I did Coaching Third, that was the way I wanted to go.
Yeah, I've got a soon-to-be 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so maybe when they're a little older, I'll try my first book.
My youngest was in kindergarten when I wrote Coaching Third. So, but my oldest was 8th grade. I don't even know. I have a bunch of kids. So.
Yeah, right. So Cliff Godwin, did you interview him for the book as well?
Yeah, and Cliff, I was just talking to my son about this. He's so honest. I mean, you know this. When you interview Cliff, he just doesn't do small talk. He doesn't do coach talk.
He gives it to you straight.
He gives it to you straight, and every time I sat down one-on-one to interview him, he would be in tears in 10 minutes about his support system and this place and his former teammates who come back and the young men. And I mean, he's just very heartfelt about what this place means. And I really enjoyed the conversation and what I got to write about Cliff because of that transparency that we don't always see in coaches. Let's be honest.
No doubt. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, both when he's coaching and talking to the media.
He
so
does.
You never know when he'll tear up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So Coaching Third. Now you mentioned Whitfield as well. So could you write another ECU baseball book or something with ties down the road?
Oh, sure. This has been so fun.
Yeah.
My last independent book, I write a lot of collaborative books, ghostwritten and other books for others, so I don't sell those.
Right.
So I'm not out doing that. So the last time I did a book like this, that was my book, was The Big Rock, which I loved, and I loved getting to do it. However, it did come out in June 2020. And so I just didn't get the opportunity to do what I would have liked to have done because of COVID. I have been out to the Big Rock several years since and done book signings and events, and that's kind of a timeless book. But this has been so fun because I live 2 miles from the stadium, and I'm a season ticket holder, and I love to be part of, this environment myself. So
obviously the diehards, I think, are going to pick up a copy. Maybe if somebody let's say they're on the fence about, why should I read this? I follow ECU a little bit. What would be your sales pitch to them why they'll enjoy this book about ECU baseball and the fans and the stories around it?
It's funny. I have a friend, Stacy Warner, I'll give her a plug, who is a professor at ECU in sport management. And her specialty is community in sports. And one of the things she does is she goes to other countries and learns about sports, like I mentioned Wrexham, and what it means to communities and how it can transform a community. So I think that there's something there that is kind of a sociology theme that, if you love the idea of people being changed by being part of community, and if you care about baseball at all, I think there's stories in here for you. And it'll be fun to hear. I'd love to hear from somebody who, like you mentioned, I know the diehards, they're going to like the book because I like it, but those who maybe don't see themselves that way, but there are going to be so many stories that I think are really touching and are going to move them a little bit closer to being a diehard.
Your son, Ben Bradsher, here, I want to give him a shout out. He's doing some social media stuff for you as well to raise awareness.
Yes, he's been doing websites, social media, helping with marketing. So that's been a lot of fun. He's done a great job.
And ECUBaseballBook.com, have you already had the book signings or any other events surrounding it coming up?
I'm going to be in the stadium signing books on Saturday, May 4th.
Okay.
We were supposed to be there for all 3 games this past weekend, but Friday night kind of fell apart a little bit. By the time I got back there, it was almost 9 o'clock, and the vibe was all off for book signing, if you know what I mean, after there's been a 3-hour delay.
I can only imagine.
And so that didn't happen. Saturday was great. Then there was no Sunday. So we're going to do Saturday, May 4th when South Florida's here. So come see me during that game. And then I'm planning at least 1 or 2 other book signings, so keep an eye on. We have an Instagram also, which is Bethany Bradsher Books, and we'll be posting any of the book signings or events on that as well as the website.
All right, she is Bethany Bradsher, and what you said we could give away a book too.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. I'll sign it. Give it away.
All right, we'll have a giveaway later in this program. How about that? So if you're watching, stay tuned to our next segment. We'll have Deontay Johnson, who is in the book, and we'll give it away during that segment. So stay tuned.
He contains multitudes. Deontay does, for sure.
I appreciate your time today and great stuff. Can't wait to read it, and I've heard outstanding things about it. So congrats on the publishing as well. I'm sure a lot of hard work went into it.
It sure did. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. That is Bethany Bradsher, and check her out May 4th.
Yes, May 4th and inside Clark LeClaire. Lower concourse right by the Dowdy Stores kiosk.
There you go for the copy of Never Take This for Granted. Around the Diamond with college baseball's most devoted fan base. All right, we'll get a break in. We'll welcome in Deontay. I'll ask him about being a part of the book and about spring football, looking ahead to 2024 as well. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. 5th Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
This is ECU head football coach Mike Houston, and you're listening to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on this Thursday. I appreciate Bethany Bradsher and her son for stopping by, Ben, to promote the book. And what we're going to do is we're going to give away a copy. Deontay Johnson is in studio, and he is in this book. Deontay, how's it going, man?
I'm good, man. Everything going great. Finals coming to an end.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
Yeah. Well, so you're in this book, and you just got it, so you haven't read it yet.
No.
But never take this for granted. Around the Dime with College Baseball's most devoted fan base. So she was telling the story of UConn Clonch's home run.
Yeah.
Are you excited to read your own stuff in this book?
I'm definitely looking forward to reading what she had to say about me.
Yeah.
Because I don't be remembering what I be saying.
So there's no telling what you might read
Nah.
in this. All right, so never take this for granted. Let's go ahead and give this away now. A signed copy by Bethany Bradsher. You can call in, and we'll go caller number 3, 252-561-8255. Again, 252-561-8255. Get a copy of Never Take This for Granted for free. Philip Pilkington will answer the phones and let you know. Again, the phone number, if you want to call in, 252-561-8255. All right, Deontay, you guys just wrapped up spring ball. And we had Elijah Morris in here on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Got some takes from him how it went. How do you feel like it went from your vantage point?
Well, with a whole new offense, coaches, and players, I feel like it went great. But, we got a lot of experienced guys on the defense that came back. So it kind of made our side of the ball more easier. We sharpening it up, but we also helping the offense get ready. But they helping us get ready because that tempo ain't no joke.
Yeah, so how long did it take you to get used to the tempo of John David Baker's offense?
I don't think that they're as fast as they're going to be at, you know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie, I'm still struggling a little bit.
Really?
When I say fast, it's fast, yo.
Y'all do the, the bag drills at the start of practice
every
where
day.
y'all are, like, hopping over that?
New energy around there, though. I like it.
Blake Harrell, I noticed him. He said it's tough to even blow the whistle that fast, so I'm sure it's tough for y'all to run. But I mentioned to Elijah and to Blake, Deontay, like y'all's culture on defense is so strong, man. You can see it when you go out to watch practice. Like, how much does that mean to you guys? Never straying away from that culture defensively.
That's what make us, bro. Like for real, like every day, coach, we break it down on protecting the culture and like. We really live that. Like, we really believe we're the best defense in the nation. Like, every day. We go there with that mentality, and we prove it every day.
And you came in, obviously, during COVID, 2020. Most of your defensive line class did. You, Surratt, and Elijah, clearly. And when do you feel like – I'm sure y'all were starting to establish that culture from day one, but what season or what moment do you feel like it really took hold where, like, not only did y'all talk about it, but y'all believed it? From a defensive perspective?
I don't want to sound delusional, but since we've been here.
Yeah.
But it really established, like, everybody got that experience 2022. That was the year where, like, we was able to roll bodies because everybody could play ball.
Yeah.
And that was my first year starting. Had a little setback, but ended up coming back. And that's when I knew, like, all right, we could be great for real, for real.
Let's talk about that defensive line room as a whole, and obviously Elijah Sue coming back, but Jaden McKenzie added to the room and some other guys as well. How do you feel about that room?
Jaden fit right in, man. I swear, it's like I said, it's like trying to teach an old dog new tricks because
Yeah.
he, you know what I mean. He been when he was at 5 years, and then he come with us, and it's like you can teach an old dog new tricks. Like he's so coachable, and he just want to learn, and then he help us with his way of what he learned back in Ohio State.
And there's some guys who come in from, like major programs like that who maybe don't have the right mentality, like, oh, like I'm better than ECU, but it don't feel like it's that way with Jaden and a lot of these transfers.
Nah, Raheem too. Since we talking about like the whole D line, Raheem, he like it's just like them boys like they know ball, they go getters, like they gonna make a play.
Right.
And once they learn what to do in the defense, it's over with. Like they comfortable, but they're not like there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once they get that, we're gonna be like, it could be special.
Raheem Craig, I know you said the other day he's always making plays on the edge, and I talked about it with Elijah. But Sam Danka, we talk about him with Joe Sampson every Friday show, I think, since he's been on the program. How excited are you for that 1-2 punch off the edge? Obviously replacing Jeremy Lewis and Jack Powers, but they can do it.
Jack and Jeremy, them boys, they did what they had to do. But these two guys, like, no disrespect to my guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But these guys, and they got years left, you know what I mean? So it's only gonna get better. They got 2 years, and then it's like they never in no bitter competition. One of them make a play, the other one running on the field, and it's vice versa. It's like they genuinely love each other. Like they really want to best man play. That's what That's what they say every day. Best man play.
And that goes back to that culture, they're always pulling for one another,
happy for each other.
Yeah, and when one person makes a play, y'all make
Everybody,
a play.
yeah, you know how that get.
Hell yeah, Blake Harrell loves to say that. Hey, that and pull the thumb. I think I've heard about it 1,000 times. I know y'all have heard it a lot more than me. But definitely a great culture. How about the new headset deal? I know Zakai Barker was wearing it. Are y'all as defensive linemen? Are y'all like, can we get a headset?
Nah, see, look, it's just the guys who got to communicate a
Right.
lot. We just told what we got to do, we get it done.
Y'all don't want to worry about that. Somebody talking in your
I
ear.
don't want no ears in my head.
That's
I mean, they can hear me. If I can hear them,
There's no doubt about that.
me.
How was Zakai was lauded as a guy who took a huge leap this spring. Did you see that as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, first scrimmage, just like, where did this guy come from? But it's like, it's been there. He just had to wait his turn. He had a few hiccups last year, but now he's healthy and he know the defense. That guy's like, that's my linebacker, you know what I mean? He gonna be behind me.
Him and Mike Edwards. And
Yes, Mike too.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys look like they're ready to go.
Yeah,
Man.
but Mike got a lot of experience last year.
Yeah.
Like, he'd been a ball player, but now it's just like he got that starting role. And then both of them go out there with that swag, and that give me that swag. Like, all right, I know they got my back, for real.
So y'all do y'all play with swag. Y'all also all had the money down sign when it's third down. So that also goes back to the culture of Deontay. Like, that third down is the biggest down of the game. So how do you feel like y'all's third down defense was this spring overall?
Third down, like third and short, we good, but we just gotta get off the field on third and long. Like, we'll do the hard work, stop the run, make an incomplete pass or something, but we got to get off the field on third down. That's our only problem right now.
So when the offense, look, it's no secret the offense struggled last year, Deontay, and y'all had a good season statistically, defensively, but didn't have the wins because the points weren't there. So in spring, when the offense is scoring, what part of you is like, all right, this is fun to watch, but also like we don't want them to score on us?
I'm not gonna lie. Them boys were scoring, or making plays. I'm really like, thank you. Like, like it hurt deep down the side, but it's like, oh my, like we can move the ball. Like, it's very exciting. Like, especially coming from last year to the first spring out, it's like very exciting. I'd be happy for them.
So you're obviously trying to get after the quarterbacks, and not that you can hit them in practice. I think it was Pinball who hit Jake Garcia during the spring game.
right into him.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. I asked Coach Harrell if he had to do any punishment for that, but he said nah. But what did you think of the quarterbacks this spring? Like, how did they come in? Fit in with the locker room, because that's such a big part of a quarterback's, DNA too.
Yeah, first couple of weeks, them boys, they sat back, try to figure out the culture, and then once they seen but they still had control of their offensive guys.
Yeah.
But the whole team, it took 2 weeks for them to figure out how everybody worked, because they was throwing with the receivers and running backs and stuff, but then when they got with everybody, it was just all right, I see how they work. So now it's just they just want to be that guy now, you know what I mean? They want to be that leader.
No doubt, and that competition, according to Coach Houston, will continue into the fall, which I think makes everybody better. And I noticed too, Deontay, as media, we cover a lot of the incoming transfers, the big names or whatnot. But so many of the guys on offense that were here last year took a step forward. Did you notice that as well from your defensive vantage point?
Definitely Chase, Keelan,
Jari had a pretty good
spring. Brock Spalding. That receiver room, they deep, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of competition in there, too.
It's a lot of fun to watch, no doubt. And there's some key guys out this spring. Rajay offensively, Chad missed. I know Chad Stevens missed the last half of spring ball. Siobhan, Savon, whatever he wants to be called now. Savon. He'll be in here in early May as part of our partnership as well. But for y'all to have the spring y'all had with some key guys out, I think that says a lot too. Like y'all are in pretty good spot, Deontay.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot, but we still got things to work on. You know what I mean? Like it's really not. It's the little stuff. Just being locked in when you're tired, being in the right position, like being aligned right. It's just the little stuff that we got to fix. And once we fix that, it's over with. I feel like we could be great.
No doubt. Deontay Johnson with us. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We will conclude the show with our last 7 or so minutes with Deontay before getting out of here on Thursday. We'll talk NFL draft. You're a Commanders fan, right?
Yeah.
So we'll preview who they pick tonight, and we'll get into some more things with Deontay Johnson. This is Hoist the Colors.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport. Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Inner Banks Media and 107.9 WNCT presents Concert on the Common.
1, 2, 3, say, I love beach music.
It's back April 25th with the Embers.
Girls hit you hallelujah, 'cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you.
Don't miss Concert on the Common with the Embers.
Concert on the Common, thanks to Inner Banks Media, the City of Greenville, and the Junior League of Greenville.
We'll see you at the show.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master. Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild. When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on this Thursday, April 25th. We got Deontay Johnson in studio. We also had Bethany Bradsher in, and we gave away our book, signed copy, Never Take This for Granted, by Bethany Bradsher. will go to Jansen from Greenville, so appreciate him listening and calling in. Preston Carr is in our Facebook comment section. He says, that's the true pirate right there. He's talking about Deontay Johnson.
That's my guy, man. That's my roommate.
Oh, yeah. And somebody named Brandon Carr might be his dad. He says, I know it's a big controversy. He wants to know who is the fastest in the D-line room. Preston Carr says he is at least the second fastest. Is this true?
No. I'm telling you, it's Sue E and CJ, man. Them boys be running. They run.
You said that in the past. It's hard to beat Sue. Like Preston, he's got the size on him. I don't know if
he
he's
moved,
quite
though.
that
No, I
fast.
don't think.
Yeah.
Like, none of us, like, slow, but them boys run.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up with Sue. I tell you what, next time when y'all are out there in preseason camp and it's 105 degrees and y'all are doing the bag drill, I'll tell y'all who's the fastest. How about
Don't
that?
talk that up so soon.
Yeah, you got time, but I tried to tell Caton and Jake Garcia, I was like, y'all think it's bad now, the humidity, wait till preseason camp, man.
Don't let it rain.
That's a brutal time of year. But it gets y'all ready, man.
Yeah.
And teams have to come to Dowdy Ficklin early in the season.
Yeah.
And handle that. So Deontay Johnson with us last segment. All right, so Washington Commanders fan.
Yeah.
First off, sorry. Second off, who are y'all drafted number 2 overall?
I'm hoping Jaden
Daniels.
We
Like
need
it's got to be.
Yeah, like I don't feel like there's no other answer, really.
Jaden Daniels has been the overwhelming favorite with the mock drafts. Drake May and J.J. McCarthy have been tossed around. You played against J.J. McCarthy, obviously.
He's a smooth dude.
In
He's cool,
Michigan.
too.
He made some great throws that game, man, where y'all, like, stopped the run, covered him well, and he just made some plays. I don't know, like, as a football player, how much do you even really get to watch?
I'm going to be honest.
Like Jaden Daniels or any of these guys. Like, it's probably pretty tough.
I don't be watching.
Yeah.
The only time I watch is, like, national championship or the Super Bowl. I don't like watching sports on TV.
Really?
I'd rather watch it in person.
In person. So, but you will watch, like, the national title.
Yeah, I watch stuff like that.
And you'll go to, like, an ECU baseball game, which is why you're in the book. Never take this for granted. But I mean, that's interesting. But I guess it makes sense. You're so used to playing and being in the heat of the moment. Like, it's probably pretty tough to just sit back and watch it.
Because it's not, like, once I went to games, like, in person, it's just, like, it's not the same feeling. Like, it's so much better in person.
So how many do you try to go to NFL games or any Washington Commander
I ain't never
games?
been to an NFL
Really?
game. The first one I go to, I'm going to play in.
There you go. NFL draft tonight, man. Like, as a player, that's obviously, I'm sure, your dream.
Mm-hmm.
How much will you watch the draft?
Probably first couple picks.
Okay. You got to watch the
wondering,
first
I can't do one thing for long unless it's football.
Yeah. So you got to watch to see who the Commanders pick, and then maybe you turn on the
get on Call of Duty.
All right. So Elijah Morse was in here Tuesday.
Yeah.
He said y'all play a lot of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
So who's better at Call of Duty, you or Elijah Morse, or is there somebody else who's even better?
It's me. Out of the group that I play with, it's me. I be snapping. But them boys don't be too far behind. It be my days or games I had, like, I'll be struggling, and they had an open hand.
What about Preston Carr? Does he get in on Call of Duty?
I ain't never ran with P.
Really?
Because I be running with Sue and E and Keaton.
Okay.
Like, all us be on there.
Preston Carr says that he's smoking you in a race.
No. He's crazy. He's crazy.
Maybe we'll get Preston in
Insane.
here. What we need to do is just have y'all compete in a 40-yard dash and see who wins.
God, exactly. With true get off and all that.
Yeah.
It's over with.
How much do you enjoy, like, when y'all have pro day out at ECU? And first off, we're wishing Julius Wood the best and all the other guys for sure. But I think Julius definitely has a shot to get drafted, and Jeremy and Jalen Johnson, all those guys.
Yeah.
But watching pro day, like the last few years, do you try to envision yourself in that moment next year when it's your time?
Yeah. I was just talking about that. Me and Raw was out there. We was like, bro, this is us next year.
Yeah.
Like, we was literally, that's the first thing we said when we went out there. But it's cool just seeing how, like, I was just playing with these guys now. They're trained to be a pro. But, like, all throughout it all, I still stayed in contact with all the guys.
Like Keith Mitchell, obviously doing great things. And how much has he told you about how much different maybe the NFL is than college? Or does he get into that at all? Are y'all just too worried about who y'all are going to take down next in Call of Duty?
Nah, we really, like, once we get on the game, that's our time, like, to wind down.
Yeah.
But he'll, like, mention stuff. It's just, there's a lot more, like, meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to be locked in mentally more than physically. But you got to take care of your body. That's what he emphasizes me all the time.
I mean, it's now just there's so many games. Like, y'all play a lot in college, but NFL is just, the season is so long. It's definitely a grind.
That's fun. I swear I love to have 17. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Just suit up for 17 games.
Because think about it. You practice hard, grind hard all year for 12 games.
That is true.
So any more than that, I'd be happy to play.
How is Keaton doing in his rehab? He coming along
good?
Good?
He coming along good.
That's good. Good. Hoping for the best for him. We got about a minute left with Deontay as you head into exams. Obviously, that's a big key for you. You said to graduate in December. Mm-hmm. What's the balance of that plus then refocusing for the offseason to get ready for the season ahead?
Like my coach Tesh said, what'd he say? What'd he say? Something, it's some ability. Your best ability is your eligibility.
Okay.
So without school, you can't play no matter how much you hate it. Like, I really do not like school, but
you
I gotta
get
do
done.
it. Yeah.
It's part of being a student athlete for sure.
He's not gonna let you slack off either, so that's why I appreciate Coach Tesh.
Coach Tesh is the man, and he has been doing it a long time, been doing a lot of good things for a long time. Well, Deontay, we're out of time, man, on this Thursday, but appreciate it as always. We'll get you back in studio again. Again, check out Deontay. Never take this for granted, but we appreciate it, man. We'll get you back on down the line.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. That's Deontay Johnson. That'll do it for Hoist the Colors on this Thursday. Tomorrow, on Friday's show, we've got an interview with ECU offensive coordinator John David Baker. We'll also talk with Joe Sampson and Scooter Rogers live from Memphis as the Pirates get ready to take on the Tigers in a 3-game series. We will talk to you then. This has been Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist